Anyway, when I did go to traffic court, they wouldn't take me to court because I was Audubon, Woodland, Camden, everywhere. Anyhow, so I had this TV, and they took me to they called the video court. So I went down there, and the judge was down there talking about Taj Tarik Bey. We have these matters of these tickets, Audubon. They was dealing with sections at a time. I said, "Oh, excuse me, Your Honor, who? I don't know your name. Will you state your name and your delegated authority, which I don't see because you're on TV. Furthermore, I don't see a pettit jury. I don't see a jury of my own national peers. I don't see any paper before me declaring that I have a contract with you or the corporation that you represent. Furthermore, in order for us to be of the same nation, it has to be juristic. I have a nationality card. Do you? Well, we'll talk later. Tickets disappeared. You understand what I'm saying? So they held me on the other ones. Woodland. And so I put a request in, take me to court. You take me to court. You know, that type of thing. Nice, but take me to court. So they finally took me to Woodland, and they had a whole bunch of guys in the sheriff's van. They put us in the sheriff's van, took us to Woodland, dropped me off first, and took these other guys to Cherry Hill. So I'm in there, sitting down, chilling. It was cold in there, too. I was chilling. So this guy came down, and I looked out between the bars because you could see right around, you know, to the side, and I could see the stuff coming up through the copy machine, and I could see the Zodiac Constitution coming up, right? So they had already called to Washington. So this guy, I forget his David somebody, I didn't even try to remember his name. He came back there and he had paperwork and something about, well, the judge sent me down there, I'm the public defender, David somebody. I said, first of all, what are you doing with that national constitution? You have no authority to even handle it. Furthermore, I want to see your nationality card. I don't want to see you public nothing. Because the only public law is the Constitution. Do you have one with you? And if you don't talk to me, foreigner. Now you go tell that magistrate who's claiming to be a judge that. Say, oh, you can't go like that? I said, I don't think we have anything to talk about, do we? So he went up, he said, I'll be right back. So he went up there, I was down there another 20 minutes or half an hour. It was killing time. I know he wouldn't, whatever. Anyway, I never made the court. Never made the court. They went back to Cherry Hill, got these other guys, came back, got me, took me right back to jail. Never went to court. Those tickets disappeared. They brought me to Audubon. Same situation, called the case up, and I said, there is no case. And he had this woman who was a public defender who's going to put her on me. I guess they're going to try something new now, right? So I was very respectful to her. I said, do you have a nationality card? Do you have delegation of authority order? And do you have a constitution? Because everything else you got doesn't count. Before you can argue a case, I also want to see the injured party. Who is it? Now, the state of New Jersey is a fiction, and it can't talk. Now, are you a representative of that state? Are you elected? Then what are you talking to me for? Then they had me sitting down again, you know, because they brought me up and set me back down when I wasn't cooperating, as they say it. So they brought me back up, just started talking stuff. I said, first of all, I don't have a contract with you. I want to see a delegation of authority order. And you know what happens if you supersede your authority? You know what the Supreme Court has to say about that? Magistrate. And I said, furthermore, are you going to demand anything from me relative to my liberty, money, etc.? If you plan to, you better verify it, because I don't think anybody here has any lawful money. Now, are you willing to take Federal Reserve notes? For the record. And I want to copy the transcripts, too. I know you don't have one in here, but you better get some somewhere. Because without transcripts, you're denying me an appeal. An appeal can't happen without transcripts. And traffic court don't have transcripts. Therefore, you're in violation. It's a fraud. You know it, and I know it, too. Tore the tickets up and said, go home. They didn't take me home. They took me back to jail. So So they was talking stuff, and I was teaching Europeans and I was teaching Asiatics, and it was going on and on. And people really started getting pretty wise. You know, people started filing. It was a guy named, what's there, Francois that came to the round table. There was a guy in there, Francois. His name was Francois. He had about 3 or 4 lawyers that pretty much ate up his finance. He's a car dealer down in Atco. And the township wanted his property and stuff like that. They was writing all kinds of citations on him and everything because they really just wanted the property. Anyway, he had all kinds of lawyers fighting and all this crap like that. They took thousands of dollars from him. At any rate, and the IRS was on him, the whole crap, you know, the whole routine. So he's in there. They had, at this time, he had 11 months. They gave him 11 months, and they had a $6,000 fine. His daughter or somebody was staying at the house. They was messing with his money, whatever. But he was pretty much in a mess. Lawyers come up there, see him, everything. So what I did, I started writing pre-statements for anybody that goes to the court, whether it was for support, whether for tickets, etc. They closed the court down for a month. I put in a request to go to court. I thought I was going to court. They threw me out. So I'm standing out there on Mickle Boulevard looking like an orphan. They didn't take me to court. They threw me out because they recognized that I wasn't going to deal with it. But the point that I'm making is because I understand what his obligations are. And it's like this. From their position, I understand that it's intimidation. And, you know, like if you're either going to stand for your rights or you're not. If I capitulate for a lot of people that I've been teaching for years. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to take it. It's because we're at war. Do you understand? But I beat their keisters. No contempt of court. You understand? All those tickets disappeared. Now, to some people, they say, well, I wouldn't have paid that price. I'm operating on principle. But the point of it is, if more people know their rights and stand on them, they wouldn't be able to target our people in communities and profile them and get away with it. Now, the other deal is, I want to make this point to you. When they cause you economic harm, and a lot of things I didn't do as far as personal suit because I already know the courts are colorable and I didn't want to distract because I was dealing with too many people. I didn't want to put my energy with that for my personal self. Do you understand what I'm saying? Trying to encourage the Moors to do a class action suit where they can't bury it. Because see, you get wins, and just like if you get wins like that, they'll bury it. You're not going to go to the records and find that. They'll bury it because you're not going to go to the court records and find that. And most times, like if I go into court, they'll clear the court so the people don't hear. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the deal is, for every Moor, whenever you go to court, don't go there to fight for yourself. Go there to teach the people. Go there with that as a mission. Do not do it for yourself. Do it for someone else. Do you understand? I'm serious. Never fight the birthright fight for yourself. Fight it for others. Fight it for the people, the man that's sitting in the corner whose family is destroyed because he thinks that he broke the law, not knowing that that judge, that prosecutor, and that lawyer that he hired are criminals. This is why Jefferson, minister plenipotentiary, in concert with the Moors who taught him, warned you all, you now have a republic if you're willing to keep it. That's why George Washington told you the same thing. What happened? We also had knights that were still claiming to be citizens of the republic, but for the purpose to subvert isonomy. Then we had Moors who capitulated, Moranos, you understand, who capitulated and sold themselves out, and to prove themselves good Christians for the Roman nations were doing everything they could to undermine the government and to sell their own people out. It is these two bodies that have undermined our great Constitution. And now most of us people today don't even know that Constitution is yours, thinking that it belongs to the European sons. And then mentally and civically disconnect yourself from it, think you're disconnecting yourself from his abuses, when actually that Constitution was set in place to protect you. That's why Article 6 in that Constitution says and declares all debts and contracts engaged in before the adoption of this Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land. And every judge of every state are obligated by oath to uphold that Constitution.